Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Extendata's webinar on delivery management systems, assimilating delivery operations into the business intelligence loop. My name is Georgia Brown. I'm the Director of Marketing at Extendata, and today I have with me Daryl Wilson, our Senior Solutions Architect and Product Manager.
Hello, everybody.
Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Honeywell and ScanSource. Honeywell is one of our primary mobility hardware manufacturing partners, and ScanSource is one of our primary mobility hardware distributing partners. So our agenda for today, I'll start by talking about how we got where we are, and then Daryl will discuss Mobile Conductor Delivery Management System and how it works, and then finally I'll conclude by talking about why you should care. So how did we get here? In 2006, Extendata released Mobile Conductor Proof of Delivery and Direct Store Delivery applications for the first time. And since then, we've been implementing mobility solutions in the cab of the truck for many industries. And through those years, we noticed that the technology and applications were getting more complicated and confusing and overwhelming for drivers. So we decided to take an in-depth look at the cab of a truck. Now tell me, how many devices do you think you see here? Just take a second and give it a count. If you guessed 4, you'd be correct. But what you're not seeing is that there's potentially 3 more devices in the cab that driver is working with. The black box, for example, providing the telematics information, and then potentially 2 more smartphone or cellular phones. So, you know, the one that the driver is using for personal communication, and then one potentially that they're using to communicate back to the home office. And there was one thing that hit us above all else when we looked at that. How much do all these devices cost? So let me run through just a little example here for you. So to start with, we have your black box. Then you have your onboard computer, GPS and maps, CB radio, and then a mobile computer for a DVIR or proof of delivery or direct store delivery application. And now you have to add in your software. So you have GPS, telematics, e-logs for hours of service with the coming DOT regulations, DVIR, and then proof of delivery or direct store delivery, and finally a messaging platform. And now add on your data costs and your IT and support. So this is, you know, generally speaking, what you're looking at, the volume of cost for just one cab of one truck. Now multiply that by the number of trucks in your fleet. And obviously, I don't have enough room to even illustrate the volume of money that fleets are putting into the cab. And we knew that there had to be a better way. So we evolved Mobile Conductor into a delivery management system, which enables one device in the cab. Daryl, why don't you go ahead and tell them about Mobile Conductor Delivery Management and one device?
Thank you, Georgia. Well, what we did with the Mobile Conductor solution was, again, through a lot of that history and experience working with our customers, was change that into a delivery management solution primarily to consolidate and integrate various disparate systems that companies depend on with a single platform to empower drivers with a simplified interface and proven workflows, trying to take that from multiple devices in the cab to one device in the cab. When we initially released Mobile Conductor, it was designed for Windows mobile solutions or handheld devices, and now it has been optimized to run on Android devices. So Honeywell provides a variety of rugged and semi-rugged Android devices that that include both scanning and Bluetooth and a variety of other features that work fantastic in this type of industry. The one you're looking at today is known as the 70 Black, and that's just one of several that they offer. So if we drill a little bit further into the idea of one device in the cab, what does that mean? And again, we really start out with this concept, as Georgia pointed out, with looking at all the devices in the truck. When you have all of these things, you have enabled a lot of different functionality for the driver, but you've also created yourself a lot of different potential points of failure and support and so on. And when you have so many different things, if there's an option to present that into a single solution, why not give that a shot? So that's what Mobile Conductor Delivery Management System's goal was with the one device in the cab concept, was to try to minimize and eliminate as many of those solutions as possible. So you can see with this screenshot here, there's a variety of different devices or applications that the driver can get themselves into. And the way this might typically work is that a driver is going to log into Mobile Conductor, and that login is going to serve as a single sign-on component for other applications that would require some sort of login. Again, simplifying that process. This would make applications like hours of service available, so we can automatically log in to the hours of service piece and let that start doing its tracking, but also let the driver jump back over and take a look at available hours and so on. Other solutions might be delivery, proof of delivery or direct store delivery type application. And again, that's one of the strengths of Mobile Conductor, providing that option. Other applications on the device can be accessed. The phone, email, calculator, camera, variety of different things are available there, but obviously only at the appropriate times. So if we walk through a fairly typical workflow, once the driver's logged in and the hours of service piece has been kicked off, then they might select the equipment that they're going to use, the truck and the trailer. Mileage could be automatically populated from the telematics device. That would then move them into a vehicle inspection where, by providing electronic DVIR, we've got a lot of flexibility in the questions and information that's being gathered, a variety of different inputs like checkboxes, text fields, pictures, as well as drop-down lists. And again, that data is captured electronically, stored back on the server so that there's never the need for a bunch of paper to track this information. And once they've completed that, they might sign off. And then, another great tool is navigation. So we can open up navigation and help the driver, take a look at not only the best route from wherever they're at, generally this, start of the day at their depot, and how to get to that first customer, also taking into account traffic. And then lastly, the ability to do messaging and notifications, even for weather alerts. Mobile Conductor supports the ability to monitor weather alerts from the National Weather Service and push that information out. And again, all of these features, are there to improve safety for drivers. But one of our biggest features for that is the ability to lock down the device. So when the driver or when the device is in motion, and of course the GPS in the device can sense this, as soon as it gets above a certain speed, then it will lock itself down, really only allowing things like navigation to be able to be run. So the phone can't be used, messaging can't be used, a lot of things can't come back into effect until the driver's actually stopped. So we've started to touch on this idea of workflows, but really let's dive a little bit deeper into that. And really, validated workflows are designed to give drivers confidence that all the necessary steps are being followed to stay compliant with regulations. Mobile Conductor's primary purpose is to organize these various applications into an organized and easy-to-use workflow for the driver. So as we kind of were looking at previously, once a driver's got logged in, then the delivery management system will work the driver through the workflows based on that configuration. And it's important to know that this is a highly configurable system that would allow us to update or modify some aspects of this workflow based on industry. So one business might use it a little bit different than another, and that can be handled through configuration. But we might start off by initiating the hours of service and getting that kicked off. And once the driver's completed that process, then we would push them into the DVIR. And again, watch for that process to complete. And then based on a delivery route schedule, then move them into navigation. And then from there, that could move into the proof of delivery or direct store delivery function. And again, implement workflow process throughout that as well. And what's important is that as this process is working for the driver throughout the day, there's a lot of different data that's being generated that can all be collected and pushed back to the mobile conductor server. So many systems, they'll all be able to distribute, the appropriate data to their back-end systems and so on. But one of the features of Mobile Conductor is to be able to push everything into our Mobile Conductor server and be able to utilize that to not only distribute data back out to other systems that might need that, but also to provide a reporting function to enhance business intelligence for an organization. So again, data that could be flowing out of Mobile Conductor may be coming back to the ERP for completed orders, or new credit return transactions could be coming back to the WMS to account for inventory coming back to the warehouse, and then obviously fleet management systems may also be fed through this process as well. So if we expand upon the idea of the business intelligence loop and really closing that, business intelligence is what enables an organization to see what's happening in their business and make proactive and strategic decisions about the business. And what one of the challenges tends to be is that there are a variety of different applications that a business may use that collect great information, but most of the time that information continues or is siloed. So it doesn't really associate itself with other good data elements that would help the business make good decisions. So this slide here is representative of what we call the supply chain technology universe. As you can see, it starts in the center with the ERP system, which is generally at the heart of just about every business. And that's going to take care of customer information and orders and invoices and so on. And then you've got the WMS system closely attached to that. In some systems, those can be combined into one, but ultimately that's going to be the piece that's going to handle inventory management at your warehouses and the picking and shipping distribution process of that. And a lot of times, then that would flow into fleet management systems that would say, okay, these routes, these orders are being picked and placed on these routes and these trucks and so on. And then a lot of those systems get tied together with things like route optimization and transportation management systems. Typically, ERPs have no ability to say, here's the route assignment that this should have, and here's the best sequence of stops for that route. So those are necessary systems as well. And then you take that out to the cab of the truck where the driver's working all day long, and there are a variety of other systems that are out there feeding data into the systems. And these could be your DVIR, your hours of service, your temperature monitoring and telematics, navigation, DSD, and POD solutions. So How do we bring all these things together? Well, that's where Mobile Conductor Delivery Management System comes in, because we have put together a system that helps integrate many of these solutions and again optimize that based on workflow that is appropriate and easy to use for the drivers. We can tie much of this information together. So all of these in-cab technologies and solutions can be coordinated through Mobile Conductor and feed the appropriate systems. So if we look at this from a data flow perspective, again, we've talked about ERPs and WMS and route optimization and so on, but the typical flow of data that we tend to work with our customers is that everything, again, originates with the ERP. Orders are sent or generated in the ERP system. Those orders are then pushed out to a route optimization solution that would basically associate those orders to the appropriate route and put those in a stop sequence. And again, that's not just purely based on location, but also the vehicle, the type of product, how much product that vehicle can hold, and so on. And once the routing has been completed, that data flows back to the ERP or directly into a WMS system so that the warehouse has what they need to do the picking process. So orders are picked and loaded onto the trucks, and then at that point in time, generally, reams and reams of paper are pushed through printers to generate all the necessary documents that the drivers need. So they've got their invoices, they've got their schedule, they've got their notes, they've got their manifest of the inventory, they've got their DVIR paperwork, and so on. And throughout the day, the driver is utilizing that paperwork and collecting data on that paper, and again, it's on paper. So that data waits until it comes back at the end of the day, and somebody's got to decipher that information and get it updated back into the various systems. And again, it is a way of collecting this data, but it is potentially very error prone. I mean, it's clearly slow and inefficient. So when we integrate Mobile Conductor Delivery Management System into this process, much of the beginning of that functionality stays the same. The ERP generates the orders, pushes the route optimization, then on to the WMS, and when everything is picked and invoiced at that particular point, then data is pushed off to Mobile Conductor, where the route assignment, stop sequence, and so on is all there made available in the Mobile Conductor server, so that when a driver logs into his handheld, he works through all the various functions of the workflow, takes care of hours of service, DVIR, confirms the inventory that's actually been loaded on his truck, and then he can see his route stop sequence. He can utilize navigation, view traffic, and so on to help optimize that route. He's also got all the line item detail information, so that as he's going through and confirming those deliveries, not only is he confirming quantities and taking into account overage, shorts, damage, anything like that, he's also accounting for extra product that may get sold because there's extra product on the truck. He can capture pictures and notes. Obviously, we would automate the arrival and departure component of that process, and also, very importantly, capture temperatures through that process as well. And that could be an automated process, usually using a temperature monitoring system that will automatically feed that data to Mobile Conductor and tie it to the invoice, or also that can be entered manually. But as that data is captured, it's then passed back off to the Mobile Conductor server, where not only management but also customer service has visibility to the orders that have been completed, the progress throughout the route, inventory levels, and so on. And then that data then is fed back to a variety of other systems, the ERP, the WMS, fleet management, and so on. So based on all that, why should you care? And I'll let Georgia pick up from there.
Yes, thank you, Daryl. So some of these things Daryl has already touched on, but I'm gonna recap them to make sure that the points are really driven home for you. So today, some cabs look like the inside of a spaceship cockpit. There are buttons, there's lights, there's devices, and it's incredibly complicated and confusing for drivers. And when you simplify from 5 to 6 devices down to 1, you're creating a space that's easier for the driver to work in. This reduction also creates a cost savings. In the handout section, we have an infographic that dives into this 37% that we've calculated. Feel free to download that and take a look at it. Then with fewer devices and with fewer vendors, the work for IT is simplified. They no longer have to work with multiple people involved with these devices for support needs when you have failures. And then with repeatable and predictable workflows, you're creating efficiency for the drivers. They're no longer bouncing around between those devices, searching through the different applications, trying to find what they're needing. It comes to them in a predictable and repeatable workflow. So I put these numbers together last second so to give you a clear picture of what I'm talking about in terms of inefficiency. So on the very, very conservative side, let's say that there's about 60 seconds per driver per day of wasted time, and that's a very conservative low estimate. If you add that up over the year, that's 4 hours of wasted time dealing with all these devices. And then let's say you have 40 routes, that ends up being 173 hours of wasted time. So with these workflows, that gets reduced down to almost nothing. Then safety. So we did a webinar a couple months ago where we went in depth on how reducing the number of devices and creating this workflow provides immense returns on safety for drivers. I'll send out a link to that webinar and those handouts in the follow-up email that I discussed previously. And then finally, accuracy of information. Daryl went into depth to really explain how, removing paper from the equation and removing data entry from the equation really enhances the information that's going back into the business intelligence loop. So for example, the clean invoice is coming back to the ERP. No longer do you have to wait for the driver to get back. They're there automatically. They're updated automatically. Attached to that can be the temperature monitoring. So I know a lot of food organizations and food service organizations are worried about the temperature monitoring requirements that are coming forward to them. So with this application of mobile conductor delivery management, we can connect your temperature monitoring application and that information directly to the invoice. So not only do you have a clean invoice going back to the ERP that is immediately available to send to the customer, but you can provide them the temperature at the time of delivery to prove that you guys were doing your due diligence in transporting those goods. And currently, ERPs and WMSs do not have the ability to automatically track returns and spoiled goods from the delivery side. So it's back to paper and having to be manually entered. With this, your ERP and WMS are fed the information automatically. And then finally, the delivery information is available for your entire organization to consume. So this closes the business intelligence loop to provide you a complete view from end to end of your business, how you're performing. So that That's it for today. We promised you a short webinar, and here we have it. I do see a couple questions that have come in throughout the webinar. If you have any, please put them into the questions feature at this time. So it looks like we had, let's see, Daryl, there was a question about any particular system requirements, such as is it available on the iPhone?
Sure. Yeah, so the mobile conductor solution right now is primarily available for Windows Mobile, so a lot of the older hardware, and then Android. And we did that strategically because there is such a variety of Android devices out there. This solution can absolutely run on a device, such as the Honeywell 70E Black, which can also be used as a phone, and other functions like that. Could be used on a Samsung phone as well, or something of that nature, and then it can also be run on tablets. So there's a lot of flexibility there. We do not currently have the option for iPhone, but that is on our roadmap, and we've ensured that our technology approach will support us going there when we're ready.
Okay, great, thank you. That looks like the next question is, do we have a preferred GPS solution like Garmin?
Yeah, so our preferred GPS solution for maps and navigation on the mobile device is from a company called ALK, and their solution is called Copilot. And with this solution, we've been able to tightly integrate it with Mobile Conductor to, again, simplify that workflow of moving from, seeing what my next delivery is and the address to, simply seeing that on a map, or initiating navigation to that location. We can also use Copilot for a variety of other functions to help enable things like planned versus actual routing and so on. The other great thing about this solution is that it's optimized for the type of equipment that our customers use. So you want to make sure that you have maps that are, and routes that are going to be specific to the fact that a driver's in a tractor and trailer, and the length of that trailer, the product that's on that trailer, the weights, and so on, versus a more consumer-based navigation or GPS solution that assumes you're driving a car.
Okay. And Daryl, just a clarifying question, are there other GPS solutions besides our preferred partner?
Yeah, absolutely. We have some customers that wanted to go a little more simple on this, and it's entirely possible to implement Google Maps with this. Again, it's not going to focus in on the type of vehicle that's being driven, but obviously that is an option. The one challenge with that is that it does require cellular type connectivity all the time to download those maps, versus Copilot. The maps reside locally on the device, so you get into an area where there is no coverage, you still have all of your mapping functionality.
Great. And then our last question, I believe this person would like to know, how does the delivery management system help prepare them for the coming DOT and Food Safety Modernization Act regulations?
Sure. Yeah, the Mobile Conductor Delivery Management System helps enable companies to be prepared to that in a couple different ways. The Food Safety Modernization Act is, looking at traceability, and there's a variety of traceability features that are associated with this, whether that be, case level tracking, lot tracking, and so on, which again takes data that, was originating in the WMS and ERP and taking that out to the point of delivery. From a DOT regulations perspective, when this solution is implemented with hours of service and GPS tracking, then all of the e-logs requirements that are coming down are accounted for. So even though those are not, mandated as of today to be in use. By starting that process, you get ahead of the game so that when those regulations will be enforced, you've got everything you need to stay compliant with those. And again, we only work with solutions that, stay on top of those regulations and make the appropriate changes to keep up with those so that you're always compliant.
Sure. Yeah, and I'd add to that, whenever you switch from paper to an electronic method of recording information, you're always going to be ahead of the curve, because with paper, you're in the Stone Age, I guess you could say. The paper can't do what electronic can do in terms of speed. And if there's any evolution in technology, then you're that much more prepared to take on those needs. So, okay. It looks like that's all the questions that we have for today. Before we go, I want to once again thank our partners, Honeywell and ScanSource. As I said in the beginning of the webinar, they are our partners in mobility and supply chain technology, and we're grateful that they were able to support us today in communicating our delivery management system. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Once again, my name is Georgia Brown, and I am the Director of Marketing here at Extendata. Don't forget that we will be sending out the follow-up email from info@extendata.com with the handouts and the recorded webinar link for further review and dissemination amongst your peers, and as well as the handouts that are available in the GoToWebinar section. Thank you, and have a great day.